The Federal Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Universal Basic Education Commission and UNICEF, has launched 3 handbooks aimed at promoting school safety and climate awareness in Nigerian schools. The handbooks, titled Climate Change Education Handbook for Schools, Early Warning for Schools, A Guide to Protecting Schools and Learning Centers in Nigeria, and Managing Violence in Schools Handbook for Schools and Learning Centers, were unveiled at the dissemination workshop in Abuja. UNICEF's Chief of Education in Nigeria, Ms. Vanessa Lee, represented by UNICEF Education Specialist Mrs. Nneka Ogbansiegbe, said the handbooks will help schools address challenges around climate change, early warning systems, and violence prevention. She said UNICEF supported 5 states to conduct hazard assessment and worked with the government to develop the handbooks.
So as part of UNICEF support to children in Nigeria in 2024, UNICEF further supported the government to conduct an assessment in 5 states. We wanted to identify what are the various hazards that affect schools and also to develop measures to prevent them and to mitigate some of these hazards, and to also respond in cases where some of these happen even before we are aware. So based on the findings, the assessments UNICEF supported further developed the handbooks, which we'll be disseminating and unveiling today. The handbooks are intended to provide basic steps and guidance for schools, for teachers, for learners, for school communities to be able to recognize early warning signs. So what are the indicators of threats, of possible floods, of possible climate change actions? It's a way of anticipatory action for us in preventing violence in schools as well as climate change actions.
The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Mr. Eniton Abel, represented by the Director Education Support Services Department, Hajia Lare Ahmed, described the handbooks as a milestone in strengthening Nigeria's education system. Says they would help ensure that schools remain safe and secure spaces for pupils and teachers.
Climate change education will empower our learners to become environmentally conscious and responsible citizens. The early warning guide will help us to protect our schools and learners from potential threats. And the handbooks on the managing of school-related violence will enable us to create safer and more supportive learning environments. I would like to emphasize that the Federal Ministry of Education is committed to supporting the implementation of these handbooks. We will work closely with our partners, schools and community to ensure that these resources are utilized effectively.
The Deputy Director Teacher Development at UBEC, Mrs. Patience Omni, represented by Assistant Chief Education Officer Mrs. Blessing Ozuamaka, emphasized that every child deserved a safe and supportive environment for learning, calling for urgent action to address school-based violence and environmental threats that affect learning outcomes.
Let me say it plainly, violence has no place in our schools. Schools should be the safety place for our children, space where they feel protected, valued, and free to dream. Yet the harsh reality is that many learners face threats and acts of physical violence within the very walls that should nurture them. This is unacceptable.
The handbooks have been approved by the Ministry of Education for nationwide use, and stakeholders commended the collaborative efforts that led to their development, laying the foundation for safer, more inclusive schools. Comfort Olayinka, Echo Blog TV.